So it's already been established that my growth plates have been closed since I was a teenager. And then about 15 years after high school, when I was 33 years old, I started growing again, having height increases. And the thought by some may be, well, were you really growing, or was that just posture enhancement? Well, I can state what my belief is and why. I believe it's growth. I mean, come on. I believe it's growth, and I have a couple of good reasons that I'm going to share. One, okay, if it was posture, I mean, so that would mean I maintained the same poor posture since high school. So I had poor posture when I was around 15, when I got my first x-ray, and the doctor saw that my growth plates were nearly fused. She saw it then, and she predicted that I would probably be around 5'7" and 5'10" at the most, and she said 5'10" because she felt sorry for me, but according to the way I saw things, she said that because she felt sorry for me, but she really believed I was finished growing. And so I graduate high school, as I remember, 5'7", okay? 33, measure my height, I'm 5'7" and a quarter in the evening. 5'7" and a half in the morning. Now, so you mean 15 years? Well, that would be 18 years since the x-ray. So all of that was poor posture. Over a decade and a half. Yeah, over a decade and a half. And then all of a sudden my posture started getting better. I doubt that. I mean, I doubt it. I think that's unlikely. But who knows? So I have another line of reasoning why I believe the height was actual growth. And that is because there are two basic things that are required for height increases: nutrition and exercises. When I would do the exercises without the proper nutrition, my height would not increase. My height increased when I applied the nutrition as well, okay? So when I would apply the nutrition with the exercise, that's when my height would go up. If it was simply posture, then my height should have went up when I was just doing the exercises. So this tells me that the height increases were actual growth. Okay? Simple as that. But guess what? There's another third line of reasoning. Another third line of reasoning. When I had my half an inch growth spurt in May 2013, no. Before I had my May growth spurt in 2007 and 2013, before I did that, I had a growth journey in February where I grew just a notch. Now, in that grow tall journey, for the first 3 weeks, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't have the nutrition I needed, and I saw no growth. During the last part of that grow tall journey, I got my nutrition and I grew a notch. And after that, I took a break for 2 months. So 2 months, I'm not doing exercises, not really concerned about nutrition, and boom, I have another height increase. So again, if it was posture, that height increase would have needed to occur while I was doing exercises. I would have had to force that height increase with exercise. But see, I wasn't doing that, and I still saw the height increase. Fast forward, years later, around 2017, I took a hiatus, and that hiatus was long, like between 2017, 2020, 2021. And what occurred during the hiatus, when I wasn't doing grow tall workouts, I wasn't messing around with them, and I really wasn't doing nutrition. I did a few things here and there, to be honest. I saw growth. And this is when I wasn't worried about exercise, wasn't that worried about nutrition, but I ain't gonna lie, I tested some things, and again, that shows it even more, that I actually had height increases without doing exercises, but testing some things with nutrition. In fact, I remember one particular where there was a height increase that I had back to back, and there was a nutritional protocol I did each day prior to those height increases, and maybe I'll talk about them one day. But there was this nutritional protocol I did. I was just doing stuff. It was, if I tell you, it would sound silly, but I did it. Wasn't doing any exercises, and I got a height increase one day, boom. Next day, boom, got another one, back to back. Now, did I continue that nutritional protocol? No. And you may say, why? Well, it was unhealthy. See, I had this really unhealthy thing, and then I had this really healthy thing, and I ate them together, okay? It was this very unhealthy thing, and then this really, really healthy thing. Had them together both of the days. And boom, boom, height increase back to back. And if you want to know another bit of information, I actually did intermittent fasting on those days. Both of those days. I think what I had it for dinner, and that was just the only meal I had that day. Possibly. My memory is a bit fuzzy. Again, I wasn't taking notes or nothing like that, but I did it. And I'll just say pretty much that was all I had that day, that one meal. And I remember when I had that meal, as I remember, I hadn't eaten anything the whole day, as I remember it. And I did that back to back, and I think both days I grew 0.5 millimeter. 0.5 millimeter back to back. I think it was something like that. And so anyway, that makes me think it was growth. By the way, another thing I did that day, those 2 days, I was chilled out, man. I was chilled out. I did a lot of lounging around, laying around. I did. Well, for the longest, I didn't have a bed or a sofa in my home. I didn't want one. I sit on the floor. I sleep on the floor. That was my preference. Actually, I did have an office chair, I believe. I had a desk, office chair, but very minimalistic. And so whenever I did reading or studying anything, either I was sitting at my desk or I was laying down on the floor. Incidentally, and I think this is important what I'm about to tell you, babies, let's just keep it real. Babies are growing their fastest not only when they're getting more sleep than they ever did in their entire life, as I shared with you in the 6-hour video. I talked about that, how long babies sleep, and they are growing the fastest. Okay, so babies are sleeping, they're drinking a ton of milk. Okay, that's all they drink. A lot of babies are not even drinking water. They only drink milk. Okay, so not only do they drink a lot of milk, not only do they get a lot of sleep, there's a third thing that they do. They're laying down. Okay, they're laying down when they sleep. They're laying down when they're awake. They're laying down when they're breastfeeding. They're laying down when they're stretching. And they do a lot of stretching. But they're laying down. And this is the season when they're growing the fastest. Just interesting. It's just interesting. And I know of a story in the days of the ancient internet, a long time ago. It was a website I was on, and there was a story about a lady who was in a coma. She was in a coma for a while, and so she was just laying down. When she woke up, she was somewhere between 1.5 inches taller or 3 inches taller, and her height stuck. So she grew while she was in a coma. So she was doing at least 2 things babies do: sleep and laying down. Now, as I say this, I'm not encouraging laziness. Please, I'm not. I'm just facing the reality of things. I'm being an observer. And just so you know, even when babies are laying down, they are working. They're playing, they're stretching, moving around, whatever. Okay, reaching, a lot of reaching. But these are just observations. Incidentally, that Asian guy, I believe he's Chinese, I talked about him in the longevity video, the video with the tree. I really think some of y'all are sleeping on that one. I really think y'all are sleeping on it, but hey, it's okay, you know, it's up to you. But anyway, he lived around 200 years old. I think it was actually 256 years old. And one of his mottos was sleep like a dog. Sleep like a dog. He said, eat like a bird, sleep like a dog. That's deep stuff, y'all. That's deep stuff. He lived a long time, and incidentally, he was 7 foot tall. 7 feet tall. So, I am not encouraging a life of lying down at all. I can't afford that. Maybe one day I will be able to. As a project. But yeah, I've thought of some application of that. Remember. Okay. And by the way, I came to this realization about babies actually lie down a lot. I came to this realization, it may have been last year. If I actually thought of it sooner, I don't remember. But what is interesting is that way back in 2013, I did notice that I saw the most gains when I would do the fish stretch. A stretch that I hated, and I still hate it. But it's a stretch when you're laying down on the ground and you're reaching with your legs and your arms. I just think that's interesting. Okay? Now I can just hear some of you saying, well, I've done a fish stretch and I didn't grow. Well, I'm going to tell you why you probably didn't. Okay, I'm going to tell you why you may have did a bunch of fish stretches and you didn't grow. I'm about to tell you why. But for now, I just wanted to bring the point home that for all these reasons, I do believe that the height was not merely posture, but it was actual growth. Because sometimes I got height increases when I wasn't doing any exercises, but I gave some attention to nutrition. Or I did some things like babies do. And also when I wasn't giving attention to nutrition, but I was doing a lot of exercises for height, my height wasn't going anywhere. It was when I added the nutrition that my height started to go up. Okay? So, yeah, that's that. Now, with that being said, I'm about to get into an incredible video. This next video I'm about to do, y'all. This is one you need to bookmark, take notes, burn it in your head. This might change the whole game for you. Change the whole doggone game. Okay? So this next video, make sure you watch it. Make sure you watch it. The whole doggone thing. That's what I recommend, because some people, they watch part of videos and they think they got it, and then they get frustrated, but all the time the answer was right there the whole time, but they were skimming through stuff. So anyway,